Welcome to my channel, Gadgets for Gentlemen. In this video I am going to present to you a beautiful Japanese dive watch by SEIKO, the SPB077 made in Japan version. I think this is a beautiful dive watch, and in this video I'm going to present to you this watch, give you a bit of its history. I'm going to tell you the specifications, show you what you can find in the box, and finally I'm going to sum it up by giving some initial impressions about this watch. So please get ready to dive into this video. So a few months ago I was in my favorite department store and I saw this beautiful watch by SEIKO. I wanted to try it on because I had some time to kill, and I had it on my wrist and I really loved it. I always wanted to see this watch in the flesh because I thought, based on the specifications on paper, I thought this watch was way too big for my tiny 6.3 inches wrist. So I threw it on the wrist in the shop and it felt actually quite nice. And the only bad thing about the watch was the very hefty price point. The retail price around 1100 euros. So I basically told myself, one day, one day will come. Let's get out of this department store, forget about it. Then a couple weeks later, this watch showed up in this second-hand place on the internet. I think it was meant to be. I saw this watch for a very attractive price point, second-hand, barely being used. So I contacted the seller, met up with this very fine gentleman who is very much into the hobby of watches, owning some very beautiful timepieces. Yeah, we are able to work out a nice deal, and this watch is now in my possession. So that's a bit of the history of how I got to have this watch. Now let's go over its broader history. Let me tell you a bit about this particular model. This SEIKO watch resembles a very unique vintage dive watch from 1968, which is highly collectible. And the reference number of this watch is the SEIKO 6159-7001. Last year there were 2 reissues of this very famous watch with a very high retail price, and those were limited collections. The reference numbers are the SEIKO Prospex SPB075, featuring a high beat movement, which can also be found in the Grand SEIKO line. Only 1,500 pieces were available worldwide, and the price point of this watch can really spike. Second, there was a reissue of this famous dive watch with the reference number SLA017. Those were 2 incredible reissue watches, but unfortunately they came with a very hefty price tag. Luckily enough for us, SEIKO produced the watch that I'm gonna review right now with a much lower price point. And this watch can be had for 1100 euros retail price. You can also pick up the reference number SPB079 with a slightly lower retail price because it does not feature a stainless steel metal bracelet, but it features a rubber strap. It can be had for around 900 euros. Both these watches are non-limited editions, so it should be quite easy to get one of these pieces. I'm going to run over the specifications of this watch, but first let me show you the box that the watch came in. This is a beautiful hard box by SEIKO with some beautiful blue lining. Inside we can find the Save the Ocean logo by SEIKO. After sizing the metal bracelet, we can find a few extra links from the bracelet. In the box we can find a certificate for guarantee purposes, user instructions, and more international guarantee. So that was what you can find in the box, and the most important part of the box, of course, the gorgeous dive watch. Now let me throw it on the wrist. Now first let me remove the watch that I'm wearing today. This is the Vostok Amphibia, a beautiful, iconic Russian automatic dive watch. You can find multiple videos on this watch on my YouTube channel. Now let's quickly run through the most important specifications of this gorgeous watch. The watch features a metal bracelet with solid end links. It features a few micro adjustments as well as a diver extension. The watch has a beautiful black dial and a black bezel. It features a sapphire crystal that has an anti-reflection coating. We can find a beautiful non-signed screw-down crown at the 4 o'clock position. We have very bright Lumi-Bright on the hour indicators as well as on the hour, minute and second hand. At the 3 o'clock position we can find a white date wheel. On the 6 o'clock position we can find this beautiful Prospex logo. And even lower on the dial we can find specifications about the automatic movement, which is completely made in-house in Japan. This is the 6R15. The watch features drilled lock holes, which make it very easy to change the bracelet or strap simply by putting a paper clip or a toolbar here. Quite easy to remove bracelets. On the screw-down case on the back of the watch we can find the beautiful SEIKO logo. Both the case and the bracelet of this watch have been treated with a super hard coating. The benefit of this treatment is the fact that the case and the bracelet don't easily pick up any scratches. The in-house movement, the caliber 6R15, features 23 jewels. It allows for hacking and hand wind. It operates on a frequency of 21,600 beats per hour. The movement is anti-magnetic and it has a power reserve of approximately 50 hours. This watch is quite big. It has a diameter of 44 millimeters and a thickness of about 13 millimeters. And the lug-to-lug distance is quite huge, with about 51 millimeters across. The case has a bit of a curve, which makes it quite nice to wear on your wrist. Makes the watch wear a bit smaller than what you would think with 51 millimeters. And you can see at the tips of the curves, you can see the bracelet. They really curve down at the very first link. Therefore, I think this watch wears much smaller than what I would think of a 44 millimeter automatic dive watch. The watch has a beautiful aluminium insert black bezel with 120 clicks. The operation of the bezel is quite nice and sturdy. The bezel only rotates in one direction and there's not a lot of play with the bezel. Unlike some cheaper SEIKO dive watches, I think the alignment of both the chapter ring, the bezel and the indices are done excellent in this Japan-made version. One of the best features of this watch is the very strong Lumi-Bright treatment on the indices, the hands, and even on the 12 o'clock location of the bezel, on this pip. I think this lume of this watch is, the best lume of all my SEIKO watches. One of the stronger points of this watch, I think, is this metal bracelet. It features both some very nice brushed and polished parts. We have a three-fold clasp. We have solid end links. We have a push button clasp and a secure lock, micro adjustments, truly a very nice bracelet. And I think one of the strong points is the fact that the bracelet is only 20 millimeters wide instead of what you might suspect with this watch to be a 22 millimeter bracelet. I really like the fact that this bracelet is very narrow with only 20 millimeters at the lugs. The drilled lug holes make it very easy to replace the metal bracelet if you got tired of it. For example, you can throw on a beautiful rubber strap, for example this strap by Uncle SEIKO. That way you can change the look of this watch completely. I think this watch would also work very nicely with a beautiful NATO strap. I haven't tested the accuracy of this movement. On the SEIKO website we can read that SEIKO allows certain accuracy deviations from plus 25 seconds to minus 15 seconds a day. I suspect this movement to be far more accurate than those limits by SEIKO, but I need to test this over time. So those were the most important specifications of this watch. Let me wrap up this video by telling you my first impressions after wearing this watch for a couple of weeks. I think this watch is truly something unique. I think it's gorgeous. The fact that it is made in Japan makes it even more special. I think this watch is very versatile on the metal bracelet. I've also worn it a few times on a beautiful rubber strap. Completely changes the whole look of this watch. I think this watch can be used as both a tool watch with very sturdy specifications, as well as a great everyday watch. I don't scuba dive myself, so I didn't test the water resistancy, but I'm pretty sure it will hold up quite nicely. I wear it to the office and I really like the look of it. Retail price of this watch is quite high, but on several places you can find this watch for way cheaper than 1100 euros. All in all, I really like this watch. I've worn it now for a couple of weeks and I'm sure it will get a lot of wrist time. If you like this video, then please hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, then please leave them down below. Please also make sure to subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. Please also check out my website and my Instagram channel. Please stay tuned. Many more videos to come. I hope you have a very pleasant day and see you soon.